What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today I'm going to be sharing the top 5 things, in my opinion, that will help you become a better Call of Duty player. These 5 things are designed for people at any level of play, whether you're a beginner at the game or you're looking at going pro. These things are designed to help you. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so I'm not going to be covering these in any particular order, so let's just jump into the first one that came into my head. This one is think. Now I know that's extremely general, but basically what I mean by thinking is think critically and learn from your mistakes. Don't just shut off your mind when you play Call of Duty. For some people, I know that's why they play Call of Duty. They play Call of Duty so they can shut their mind off and just sort of escape the stress of everyday life. There's nothing wrong with that, but if you're seriously looking at improving at the game, you're going to have to think critically. So what does this mean? Well, every time you die, every time you make a mistake, think about what you did wrong and what you could be doing differently. Don't start blaming external factors every time something doesn't go your way. Think about what you personally did wrong and what you could do differently. Sure, you might not have the best connection that game. That doesn't mean you couldn't have done something a little bit differently to maybe stack the odds in your favor a little bit more in that situation. There are a ton of ways that you can use this, and you can use this every single time you make an error. If you watch my live commentaries, a lot of the time whenever I die, I just quickly explain what happened, what I did wrong, and what I can do differently. A lot of the times you'll see me go, oh man, my shots were off, I gotta focus on my accuracy a little bit more. Or wow, why was I positioned there? That was a stupid spot to be. Why did I linger there for that long? That was dumb, I'm not going to do that again. And a lot of the times I even catch myself trying to blame external factors. So you'll see me say, oh, teammates, what's wrong with you? And then I think back and I think, okay, I should have been watching my minimap a little bit better. My teammate didn't quite have that covered as well as I thought he did. This is one of the most important things for becoming a better player. It's learning from your mistakes and creating reference experiences from these mistakes. So a reference experience is basically when you die in a particular situation, you analyze why you died, what you could have done differently, and then when you run into that similar situation in the future, you can draw from that experience that you had in the situation that didn't go your way, and you can try something new. Now this is something you're going to have to stack hundreds and hundreds of times before it actually starts making a big difference in your gameplay. It's not like if you die in one area once, you suddenly know how to handle that situation every single time. You're going to have to keep trying new things and just trying to work out the right way to handle that particular situation. And every situation is a little bit different, so you keep developing reference experiences over time to help you improve. So that's the first thing. Don't just shut your brain off when you're playing the game, actually think about what's going on. The next one I want to cover is something that's pretty important that a lot of people don't really consider, and that is controlling your emotions while playing the game. You guys probably have seen this if you've ever been in game chat before and you hear some kids with a microphone. You've probably heard them raging and raging, sometimes screaming into the microphone, just freaking out. I've even run into kids that were like crying because they were so angry at the game. And this obviously doesn't allow them to become a better player. Are they becoming better players while they're screaming in the mic? No, probably not. Are they going to do any better after doing that? No, probably not. They are going to get worse and worse as their emotion continues to cloud their judgment and continues to cloud their thought processes. Now I know this is something that is definitely easier said than done. It can be very difficult in Call of Duty to keep a level head, keep calm and collected, and not freak out when something that's completely out of your control and ridiculous happens. I acknowledge the fact that extreme cases of lag happen all the time. The guns maybe aren't the most balanced in Call of Duty history. Actually, I would say they're pretty unbalanced in a lot of cases. There's various external factors that are outside of your control that often get you very upset at the game. They build your blood pressure up and they make you very angry, but you don't want to get into this state no matter what happens. A lot of people ask me all the time, how do you stay so calm and collected? And the simple thing I like to do is when one of these stupid deaths, these ridiculous out of your control deaths happen, or whatever is going on that's making you angry that's out of your control happen, just laugh it off. Just look at how ridiculous that lag spike was. Like, I just shot 10 bullets into a guy, none of them registered. You watch the kill cam, I didn't even fire a shot. I just laugh at that. That's ridiculous. It's like, well, I know there's nothing I could have done differently there. It was perfect. I had great aim and everything, but my bullets didn't register. Well, it's just one of those things. Call of Duty, I guess. And then you just move on. Now, I don't want you to confuse this with the first thing I was talking about and blaming external factors for no reason. I'm talking when it's something that is clearly just absolutely out of your control and ridiculous. Just laugh it off and move on. Realize you're playing a video game, it's not that serious, even though some of us do take it seriously. I do take it pretty seriously most of the time, but realize it still is a video game, and stupid things like that are going to happen, so just laugh it off. So the third point I want to cover is looking at the big picture within a game. A lot of players really only focus on how they're going to get their next kill, or maybe their next 2 kills if they're a little bit more advanced. They're not thinking about their current actions and how those current actions can affect the game 30 seconds from now, or a minute from now, or the overall outcome of that match. Something that I see all the time, and I actually mention this quite often, is in a very close game of domination where the outcome really isn't clear. If your team holds 2 flags and you just started to hold this setup and you're holding it relatively comfortably, but it's still a really close game and you don't know if the enemy's going to be able to come back, think about what happens when you try to go for that triple cap, when you try to cap that 3rd flag. A lot of players don't really think about what's going to happen 20 seconds after they capture that flag. They're just thinking, oh sweet, 200 points for free, all I have to do is jump on that flag. Awesome, I'm going to get my streaks a little bit faster, maybe. It's a risk, but I'm going to jump on there. And then 20 seconds from them, they get the capture. 20 seconds from then, they flip the spawns out, all of their teammates get shot in the back, all of their teammates' streaks get ended, and now they're being double capped. They have no map control, they only hold the 1 flag that you just captured, and then they wonder why their teammates were so bad and how they're so amazing because they had all the captures and their teammates didn't get any captures there. It's their teammates that suck, not them. When in reality, what they did was what caused what happened to them. The reason they lost control of the map, the reason they lost 2 of the flags, is a direct result of them trying to capture that 3rd flag. This is just one of the situations though. This can happen in anything. What happens if you push the left side of the map? What will that do to spawns? When you kill an enemy, where is he going to spawn? When you start to notice somebody's pushing this side of the map, what kind of effect is that going to have on the overall outcome of the game? Pay attention to these higher level things. Now, for the beginner players, this is going to be much more difficult because a lot of their thought processes are basically just trying to handle the controller and handle each and every gunfight individually. It's hard enough. It takes enough of their brain energy for that. And I'm not saying you're stupid or something if you're a beginner player. This is just due to the fact that they haven't developed that same muscle memory that some of the really experienced players have. So for an experienced player, a gunfight is something that just happens in the back of their head. They see an enemy on the screen, their fingers just automatically make the motions to make sure that they get on target, shoot the enemy, kill the enemy. Whereas a beginner has to consciously think, holy crap, there's an enemy on my screen. What do? I have to move my right thumb to move the thumbstick onto the target. Then I have to aim down sight with my left finger. And then I have to fire with my right finger while trying to stay on target. And that's basically all they can handle because they simply don't have that down to a muscle memory, basically. It just doesn't happen automatically for them, like some of the more advanced players. So if you are a beginner player, don't overthink this big picture thinking thing. Focus a little bit more on the basics. If you are a bit more of an advanced player though, think beyond that next kill or that next couple kills. Think about the implications of your actions on the game. Moving on to the 4th thing that I wanted to cover, this is gaming peripherals. So by gaming peripherals, I mean things like gaming monitors, headsets, SCUF controllers, control freaks, fancy routers, everything like that. All of the actual pieces of hardware that will help you improve your game. Now I have to make something very clear here, and this was actually worded very nicely. One of my viewers, one video actually posted this, and I honestly don't know who you were, I couldn't find the comment, but I really like the wording of this. Gaming peripherals do not create skill, they enhance it. This is something that you should really be aware of if you're looking at buying these gaming peripherals, thinking that it's going to help you suddenly become a much better player. If you give a brand new player, somebody that's never played the game before, you give them a SCUF controller rather than a default controller, you're probably not going to see really any difference in their gameplay. It'll be just as bad either way. Whereas if you give somebody that is very confident with the game, very good in a lot of situations, but maybe struggles a little bit with jump shotting, if you give them a SCUF controller and give them a little bit of time to get used to it, you will actually see a very noticeable improvement in their game. This is because they already have the skill to back it up, and this controller is simply enhancing the skill that's already there. Same thing goes for a headset, or a gaming monitor, or something along those lines. It doesn't create skill, it just enhances it. Does this mean you should completely stay away from peripherals? Absolutely not. If you're really serious about gaming, you have some money that you want to spend into gaming, you want to invest in that, and you feel like you've reached your limits in certain areas, like your ability to jump shot or something like that, then absolutely spending that money on a SCUF controller or on some control freaks or on a gaming monitor, that will definitely help your game. I'm not saying it won't help your game, just don't think it's going to be the difference between you being some beginner that doesn't know what he's doing and becoming an MLG pro. So gaming peripherals, that's number 4. The number 5 thing that I wanted to talk about today is challenge yourself. Now this can be taken a few different ways. The first way is challenge yourself by using more variety. So use different guns, use different play styles. Just change how you play, change the way you're setting your classes up and everything, and run into situations that you don't normally run into with your current playstyle. A lot of people get stuck in one playstyle. I did this for the beginning of Advanced Warfare. Actually, probably the first half of Advanced Warfare's life cycle. I pretty much only use the AK-12, or at least most of the time I use the AK-12 with the same perk setup, same score streak setup, and I played in the same basic playstyle. What this meant is I became very good at that one particular playstyle, but if I ever ran into a situation that was outside of my comfort zone with that playstyle, I was in big trouble. If I had to pick up a different gun that I hadn't really used before, I was in trouble. If I ended up getting into a gunfight up close, which is the opposite of my intended playstyle, I was in big trouble. So what I decided to do is I started branching out and using a lot more variety. I started using shotguns, I started using akimbo pistols, I started just messing around, trying different setups, playing in different ways, rushing around trying to punch people, or hanging back trying to pick people off across the map with a sniper rifle. Various different playstyles, and this made me a more well-rounded player. I'm able to handle a variety of situations a whole lot better, and I've improved as a player overall quite a bit since I started doing this. So challenging yourself by using different guns, different setups, and using a variety of different things, what this does, it kind of relates back to what I was talking about earlier with reference experiences. This is creating new reference experiences for you, because once you get really good with one playstyle, you've basically developed all those reference experiences for that one playstyle. So you're great with that one playstyle, but you don't have reference experiences in other playstyles. So this is what we're trying to accomplish with variety. The second thing I'm mentioning when I say challenge yourself is don't back down from a tough fight. I see this far too often in Advanced Warfare. I see this way more in Advanced Warfare than in any other game of Call of Duty. People simply back out of the game at the first sign of a struggle or the first sign that they're not going to have a great game. What does this do for them? Well, this means they get really good at stomping on noobs that don't know what they're doing because they're just searching for these lobbies all the time. They aren't very good at actually handling a real challenge. You think that's a very well-rounded player? I don't. So if you get into a tough game, stick it out. Play to the end. Even if it's clear you're going to lose that game, try your hardest. Try to fight back. I don't care if you're playing against a clan full of 6 guys and there's only 3 of you left. Try your hardest to do whatever you can. Even in these situations, you don't necessarily have to try your hardest to win. I usually don't. If it's clear that I'm not going to win anyway, it's just kind of stupid to throw your body on the flag all game. What I do instead is I try to see if I can make the other team angry at least. See if I can make them leave once the game ends. If I make them angry enough that they don't want to play against me again, even though they won, I've accomplished my mission in this particular scenario. Never back down from a tough fight. Fight it out right until the end. So that's going to wrap it up for today's video on the 5 things that I feel will help you become a better Call of Duty player. Now, one thing I do want to mention here is it's not going to happen overnight. Just because you watch this video, you're not going to be twice as good as you were yesterday. That's not how it works. You're going to make incremental improvements over time. This doesn't mean you have to play the game every single day for several hours a day and just grind out the game all the time so you can put as much time as possible in. It just means that all of these incremental changes, they will add up every single time you play the game. You can learn something new, you can learn a few new things, you can add a couple new reference experiences to your list. All of these things add up as you keep playing, and over a month or 2, you're going to notice some serious improvement in your game if you really follow these 5 things. Let me know in the comment section below, what is your #1 tip to help somebody improve at Call of Duty? If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.